Okay, so I was working on this Rolitechnium and we came to a little problem and I thought I'd make a video about it. So this Rolitechnium has an internal brake cable, and sometimes they can be real nightmares. This will also hold true for any other internal routing, especially I learned this trick with routing dynamo wires through fork blades and things. So if you just pull the brake cable and housing all the way out, there's just two empty holes into this frame. So you try and put the new one in, there's no guide to get it out. It'll just go in and bang around in here. And it's almost impossible to get lined up. And when I was first trying to figure this out like 10 years ago, I looked online and everywhere, and everyone was saying all sorts of wild stuff, like vacuum a string through it and with a vacuum cleaner, and then you can use it as a guide. I tried all this stuff, barely ever worked. It was all terrible. So I'm going to show you the two methods that really work for this. The easiest method is if you've already got your old piece of housing still in here. What you want to do is take an old brake cable, or in this case, here's an old shift cable. I think it'll work exactly the same. So if you're changing all this, use the one that you just pulled out of there, or find one in your scrap pile. Take the old cable and try and get it in there a pretty good ways, like halfway or so, still some hanging out. And size up and cut your new piece of housing. We're going to roll this new piece of housing onto here as well. And you can see they're butted up together, and this internal piece will kind of hold them together. So what we can do is just sort of push them both and fish. A little pushing from this side, a little pulling from this side. Push, push, push. A little wiggle and push. Come on, Bella. And there's definitely often stuff in here, like this Raleigh is like a aluminum tube to a butted steel lug, and so there's definitely a big giant lip on the inside that things catch on, makes it extra hard. You see, be really careful not to pull the white one. We're just sort of guiding it. We're just pushing the black one, and you can see it popped up over here. I just wiggled it a little bit to get not to bind up on this little hole, and out it comes. So we have it coming out. And boom, there is your new piece of housing through the frame. That's the easiest way. Now sometimes, often, you won't think of that until you pull it out, or you'll get a bike that doesn't have anything in there at all, and you're like, oh, this should be easy, and you try and fish the new one in. I'm going to do that just to show you. It's like, yeah, it's already hitting like the internal butt. Okay, got it through, going all the way forward, and it's hitting the internal button here. And it gets past it. It's dark in there, you can't really see it. It's under tension, so it's over here, so it's trying to hit this back edge. It's not anywhere near here. I've definitely taken a pick or a sharpened spoke and tried for hours to get at it and pry it out, and it slips off, and it's a nightmare. Really, the best thing to do is we're going to kind of just use this guy again. So I like to take this old shift cable and put some kinks in it. So you can see it's bending out. So what this is going to allow us to do is put this inside the tube. And when it gets down to the end, it's kinking out trying to touch the wall. So once you fish all the way through, you can twist it in your fingers and get this end to twist around until it pops out that hole. In theory. This really is the easiest way, and it works 99% of the time with no problem. So I just got a little bend at this end, but really that kink there is what it's all about. The trick is we're going to fish it through this internal hole in here. There it goes. Got to get through the other side too. I'm sort of wiggling and jiggling and twisting and turning. Trying to, oh, I think it went through. Yep. So I'm just going to twist. Oh, I see it. I'm down. Oh, and it pops right out. Huh. I know I'm really blocking the camera here. But it popped right out by twisting it. So just scrape the inside of the tube until it just falls out of that hole. And I'll do this again with a close-up. So here you can see the hole. I'm coming from the other side and trying to fish and fish and fish. I'm just twisting it, looking in there to see if I can see it. Twisting the cable gently in my fingers. Okay, now it's through the butt, and I can see it, and there it is, pops right out. So back in, twisting, 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 and you twist her out, it pops right out. So now we have this piece of shift cable, half and half, and we're going to do like we did before. Gonna load the new piece of housing. This white is actually the new one. The camera turned off the first time I tried. So I figured I'd get some close-ups and do it a little better and show you both methods. I'm gonna hold this guy so it can come out. We're sliding the new housing onto the shift cable. Trying to get it past this little internal lips and butts, and if you're doing down tubes and C tubes, you'll hit the water bottle bosses and you gotta fight past them sometimes. Now it's up at this end. I can see the little white piece of housing. It still wants to go straight, doesn't want to come out. So I gotta push back here and pull this guy, and boop, there we are, just like that. This is the easiest way I've ever found. Park has like an $80 tool. There's a couple like Chinese knockoffs of it, like little wires and guides and a magnet, and you can sort of fish it through with the magnet and pull the wire through, and then you can jam the wire. It's got a little screw hook you can jam into the end of the housing and try and fish that through. I've used that $80 Park tool a couple of times. It worked pretty well. I was pretty impressed. The magnet was even pretty strong, especially on like aluminum and carbon frames. It's not interfering with the steel because aluminum and carbon aren't magnetic. You can really fish stuff up. Totally cool. I think this wire works better. I think maybe some really modern pain-in-the-butt carbon frames with 5 million internal routings, maybe that magnet is the absolute truth, but yeah, the wire with a slightly bent end, just heaven and magic. The first couple times I did this, it took literally 5 hours of frustration, and now, as you can see, it takes like 2 minutes tops. It's fished all the way through, and I just pull this old dead shift cable out, and we can throw it away. I always save some old cables like this, just because I'm always doing these internal routings. And if it's real tough or tricky, like I said, you just sort of fish. You wiggle, twist, wiggle, and it'll pop around any little internal burrs, any tight spots. You can grab the other end, just take some tension off, and just get it where it flows really nice and free. So that is my video on how to run an internal piece of housing without super expensive tools. Thanks for watching.